all know how you're kind of like the colossal douche of the podcast.
I disagree.
You can disagree all you want, but our thousands
The
and
consensus
millions,
is you're the douchebag.
the thousands and millions of fans.
I feel like you're trying to defame me right now. I'm going to sue you.
Sue me all you want. I don't have shit. Do you want my van?
Have you seen his car?
Do you want my van?
I'll take your car just out of spite, so you have to write a Bible.
You don't
or
even
some
know
shit
the name
everywhere.
of my van. But all the girls want to hold my hand. Anyway.
That's it, though.
No, okay. This, like, it got me thinking about, like, all the douchebags we used to, like, have to deal with in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, like,
we were also being douchebags ourselves.
Okay, I was not a douchebag.
We were a good kind of douchebag.
Okay, you guys may have been douchebags. I was not. I was that kid that everybody got along with,
That's
just
true.
about. Like, I don't think
Yeah,
there was...
fucking people hated me. There were so many people that were like,
Yeah.
I fucking hate Justin Friedmeier. I don't even know why. Like,
I fucking hate you.
just because, like, I was fucking, like, I didn't give a shit what people thought. That's
'cause you're a
probably-
homo.
That's probably why people hated me.
Yeah. Let's go with that. No. Oh my god. I saw a fucking who was it? God damn, I can't remember the Cody. Well, that kid. Okay, to put this in perspective for
Tall
you
as fuck.
guys.
Didn't he have he had some kid?
Yeah, no, he
somewhere.
had a kid.
Alana's cousin.
Yeah, no, he had a kid, I think, soon after we got out of high school or something like that. That wasn't the dumbest thing that he did. The dumbest thing he did with his baby mama, he got a tattoo on one rib that said together.
No.
And on his baby mama's other rib, on this, like, to where when they were side by side, she had forever. I'm pretty sure they broke up, too. So now they just have a fucking tattoo that she has one that says forever, and he has one that says together.
That is never a good idea.
No,
Ever.
I will
Couples
never.
tattoos.
No, couples tattoos are never a good idea. One, I think couples tattoos kind of jinx the relationship.
Definitely.
Two,
They're gay. They're gay as fuck, dude.
Yeah, they look
Three,
bad.
if you break up, now you have to explain why the fuck you have forever on the side of your.
Make some shit up.
Yeah, there's.
I just like the word.
There's not.
It's my first word.
It's not like
It
you
meant
just.
so much to me.
You just take your shirt off. What the fuck do you have forever wrote on the side of your chest? Okay, you see, it's a long story. Are you forever young? No. Are you forever gonna be?
I wanna be
Forever young.
I like your sleeves.
Do you really want to live forever?
Song play.
Thanks, I made them myself.
Like, that is the dumbest thing you can do is get a couple's tattoo. I will never. I don't care even if I've been married for like 10 years.
You Peter get pretty serious, huh?
Not really.
We're just friends.
Oh my god. Exactly.
Where's that sequel?
Oh my god.
I couldn't even imagine that. Like Kip, he's
Oh.
probably like in his fucking like 40s.
What if he's like jacked now?
Oh my god.
Just massive, like Mike massive.
Oh my
They've got
god.
all these mixed babies.
Oh my god.
Him and LaFonda.
Some little nigglets. I'm sorry, Chase. No, please.
You deserve one.
They got away!
You're gonna get the chair for that, boy.
We gotta talk to you about this.
You're gonna end
boy.
up like Anthony Lamar Smith.
Oh my god.
Are you dealing that heroin, boy?
Boy.
Oh my god.
Let's let that pass.
Douchebags.
Okay, we were talking about
Cody Knoll.
Anthony
Tattoos.
Anthony Lamar Smith.
Okay,
Fuck up.
no.
You said his name
no.
like 5 times. Shut the fuck up.
Look.
Okay, one thing I don't understand is like, why are the people that are being martyred like the worst fucking people ever? Like, why not pick like an innocent black guy that was killed, like the guy that was like choked out to death for like no reason, instead of like a heroin dealer that tried running over people?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing,
It was
though.
such an outrage was because the dude who was on camera, you know.
Yeah, I know the whole story. He had like a personal AK.
He may have
but
planted the shit. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's no matter what.
They
he's
already
a,
debunked
he's-
that though.
It doesn't matter. He's a cop. He's
I'm just
gonna get
saying.
off no matter what because he's a cop.
That's the
no.
No, just.
No.
Oh my god, you're such a fucking liberal.
no. Okay, here's the problem with it. The problem is that we see, and it's not the fact.
Cops are caught lying all the time.
Yeah, I mean there are a bunch of corrupt ones, but there are some that are prosecuted. I'm saying
I'm
just
not saying
just
that
because
he
they're
wa-
cops
he
doesn't
was-
mean that they're
I'm not
gonna
saying
get
he, like,
off.
he was like, I'm gonna fucking kill him. Like, I'm not saying he was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean you probably would too if the guy tried to run over you and like wasn't answering to your commands. You probably would say that too in the fucking heat of the moment. Doesn't mean that he like 100% meant to say that.
That's what I just said.
Okay, the problem is like even the ones that get prosecuted, like for the ones like Trayvon Martin for example. Okay, one, the guy who killed him, number one, wasn't a cop. Number two, didn't really have the right.
Was that the Zimmerman one?
Yeah, George Zimmerman.
What was he actually?
George Zimmerman. I don't know what he was. He wanted to be a cop. I'm pretty sure he was like, he anointed himself neighborhood watch or whatever, or something like that. But according to the testimony or something like that, George Zimmerman was defending himself from.
Was this the case where like Trayvon, didn't he have like a play gun or something?
No,
like an airsoft or something.
No, he didn't even have anything. He had
maybe that's a different case.
Yeah,
he was not thug at all.
No, that was what you're thinking of. There's a video of a cop, I think he pulled his gun out on some kids, and they had like airsoft guns or something like that. So he pulled his actual gun out on them or whatever. But no, Trayvon was just walking home or whatever, and George Zimmerman considered him suspect because he was, wearing a hoodie, had Skittles in his. Well, he didn't know about the Skittles or anything like that, but that's all he had in his pocket was a thing of Skittles.
He just wanted the Skittles.
But he considered him suspect, but he wasn't following what Zimmerman said or anything like that. And the kid ended up getting shot and died. Yeah. And Zimmerman didn't even get any time for it because So when you see stuff like that, it's just like I think that's the main one that started this whole trend of like, since that one happened, there's been
around here at least because there was like Rodney King. Back
Yeah,
in the day.
yeah, but like
there's there's the Michael Brown one too.
That
like
one,
he
that
legitimately he robbed a store and then tried ramming into a cop.
That was after
then
Trayvon
he shot
Martin.
him, and everyone's like,
that was after
That's when they
Trayvon.
burnt Ferguson down.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Like, why?
The problem is
he was in the right to shoot Michael Brown, not the other kids.
It's okay. You see a lot of police brutality, and even if it's not on face value, I can say from personal experience.
Did you see those cops in the fucking Galleria choking out those old black women?
No.
Yeah, I saw.
Like,
yeah, I saw.
Cops do not give a fuck.
There's I will say from personal experience, there are cops who like to abuse their power.
Of course.
Yeah.
In any position of power, there will be someone that abuses it.
But you see it a lot more in black neighborhoods. I will say.
I will say though that a lot of those neighborhoods are higher crime neighborhoods.
Yeah,
but they have to be more.
But even around here, like I've been harassed personally by the cops too, where I've been handcuffed only simply for asking, why am I getting pulled over while walking at night with me, my brother, my cousin, and other cousin, and we weren't doing anything except for walking a couple girls home. Yeah. But there's personal experiences like that where you don't know if it'll go south or not, and like it's gonna be your word. It's gonna be your word against the cop at the end of the day, and 9 times out of 10, the cop's gonna win.
Always, yeah.
Right.
Because he's seen as an authority figure. He's seen as a higher power, and you're just seen as an everyday citizen. Mm-hmm. And if you're a black everyday citizen, most people automatically have the assumption that you're up to no good. Especially, not all white people, but a lot of white people tend to think that. Just because the media only portrays a lot of the bad.
Right.
Only the bad, yeah.
So, well, another thing is the media only portrays it. They only even pay attention to it when it's a white officer and a black suspect or whatever. Yeah. When in reality, there are more black officers that shoot black suspects than white officers. And there are a lot more white people that are shot by the cops and arrested every year. So, I'm saying, I mean, that's the stuff they don't show you. And, I mean, do you remember seeing that case where, it was like a couple months ago, where there was like a white woman in, I think, California, and she called for 911. And the cops came and they ended up shooting her by accident and killing her. I'm pretty sure that was a black cop. Not that it matters, but I'm saying like accidents happen. You don't see us like rioting about it. And I mean there is like injustice, and there is there are people that
white people are not. We're not. I mean, I hate when people are like, like say like you know, like people have such an advantage. Like we do like we do.
In some things,
it goes to a certain point. Like being born white.
Well,
it depends. It also depends where you are geographically too. Like
it does.
Like
well,
if you're in an inner city in any city in the Midwest,
well, there's
Detroit,
certain
Chicago,
things.
St. Louis, like the school systems suck.
There's certain things that are definitely prevalent to where you like white people will have an.
Where you are.
I'll give you one example. I don't know if you know this or not, but this has actually been proven. If you are black and if you're black and you have a black person, you have a white person, like started off same exact way of living or whatever. You don't have any credit built up at all at this point, but a white person will start off with a higher credit score than a black person. That is an actual fact.
I haven't heard that, but I've heard that banks are more likely to give home loans to white people than black people.
Yeah, that is another.
I haven't heard the credit score one.
Yeah, they start off with a higher credit score than a black person just because it is.
Is that based on an average? Because I mean, if it was like based on a geographic location and you're like in a high crime, low income area.
No, it's like same area. Like even if you're from the same area, it's still the white person has a higher. Yeah,
that's interesting.
I've actually heard. So there are some clear like advantages to being white.
Yeah,
I will say that there are some that are overplayed by other people. I will say that, and you know that's just the fact of the matter. That's more so from the passion and more so from like the frustration and everything like that. We will like, yeah, and that's just anybody. If you're frustrated or you're mad about a situation, you will pin to what you can grasp onto in order to like use that towards your own argument.
Right.
And that's for any case. So, but that being said, there are some advantages, and just some people don't want to accept it, and some people will fight you tooth and nail on that. There are some people who will actually listen to you and like hear your message, but there are a lot of people that
I never even thought that was a thing. Like I was like, there's no way. Like this is the United States. You know, like everyone has. You know, there's discrimination laws, but like obviously,
yeah,
shit doesn't always go the way it should.
Media. Here's the thing. Media is one thing. Real life is another thing.
But I mean, I know now.
You gotta. A lot of people only think it happens in the media and they don't see it like personal life. When you actually live it and you actually see it, it's like totally different than just like, you know, hearing it or seeing it on the media.
Right.
Because you don't think it'll actually happen to you, but when it actually happens to you, that's some shit that like will.
Yeah.
Change.
I mean, I imagine it's really scary. But I think it's more like the solution to this is just better police training.
I will agree to that.
I think a lot of these cases aren't that like these cops are inherently racist assholes. They're just like, you know, scared for their lives, or you know, they make a mistake. When you're in a high stress situation like that and you don't have proper training like some of these guys, then yeah, you're gonna fuck up.
I will agree to that because there are some countries that like actually make sure that their officers are completely trained to assess a situation, whereas I feel like sometimes we're just trying to get out the numbers.
Yeah. And
so they're not able to properly assess a situation to see what kind of force is necessary for this. Because if you have a taser, a nightstick, something like that on you, the first thing you shouldn't grab is a gun.
Right.
Like that should be your last resort. Like if that's the only thing if this is life or death, pull out your gun. Yes.
Yeah.
But
if you think they have like a gun on them or something, then like definitely don't go for the taser, because I mean they're gonna get a shot off probably. Bullets are faster than tasers.
I'll agree. Yeah, I'll agree to that to some sense. But like you should be able to, you know, apprehend. You should be able to apprehend what I'm blanking on the word.
A suspect.
Yeah, a suspect. You should be able to apprehend a suspect. Your gun is there when you need it.
Right.
Like that shouldn't be the very first thing you go for, especially if you have no visible evidence of them having any kind of weapon or anything like that.
I agree.
Yeah. But
I also think that because I've heard a lot of cases where they have like the body cameras now, and something goes wrong, and then they're like, okay, well, let's look at the tapes, and they're like, oh, well, I didn't have my body camera on.
Yeah.
Those people should be fired on the spot.
Yeah, like that's it's a part of your uniform now, so
yeah.
If you can't, the one thing that'll help open and shut this case, you don't have it on you coincidentally, that's no.
Yeah, you should be charged with something for that.
Yeah. Alright. Nice.
That's the shady shit I'm talking about. Like, they're probably like, oh, we see this. We're just gonna say this. Just,
I mean, I agree with you. I think there are a lot of cops that are like that, but I think by and large, the vast majority are actually trying to do good and just do their jobs.
No, because you do see the good ones, but they don't get publicized nearly as much.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of the black guys that are doing good either. It's just like this story that they're trying to make up in the media that keeps dividing us just because it's a good story and it gets the viewers. That's all they care about.
I thought it was funny, like, how the media was all over the monument removing. Like, who are all these people that are pissed off about the monuments being removed? Like
that wasn't a thing until now.
Are you gonna forget who won the Civil War? Who cares if they're gone? We all know who fucking won. We don't need
to take them down. Like who the fuck cares?
I don't care if they're there or not. Like,
I don't care either.
If they're removed, okay. If they're there, okay. Like,
but like, okay.
Like, I don't think we really need them anymore. Like,
right.
But at the same sense, like,
it's a part of history. As
long as they're, I don't know, put them somewhere. Something.
Yeah. Something funny that Amanda posted when that whole thing was going on was like, it was like a thing of King George. It was like, it's like showing all the American colonists pulling down the thing of King George, the statue of King George, and she was like, "Oh, when we did that, they were called liberators or something like that," and I was like, "That's such a false equivalency or whatever." Like, okay, King George wasn't even that fucking bad. Like, let's be real. We went to war over, like, several percentages of tax increase. And the taxes are way worse now than they were under British rule. Well, like, we went to war over, like, nothing.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, besides, like, wanting to become a democracy.
A 3% tax increase was a lot in 1765.
I guess, but we have, like, a 30% tax rate now.
Yeah, it's been 300 years.
So...
It would be nice to go back down to 3%.
Yeah, it would be nice, right? If only we shrunk the government.
And it was on like tea and shit too, like.
Yeah, like the most it were like stamps. Like,
so our founding fathers were racist assholes and dressed up like Indians and threw tea into the.
Oh my god. That's another thing. When people were like, Trump is saying all this shit. This has been unprecedented in American history. And then, like, you go back to Thomas Jefferson, and he's, like, calling Adams a transvestite and stuff when he's still his vice president. Like,
those who didn't talk
Jefferson was fucking savage, dude. He was a monster.
Oh, my god.
But he was a lot smarter than John Adams. John Adams was kind of full of himself, and they died on the same day, though. And they didn't talk. Really? They died on the same
I
day,
do recall that.
And they didn't talk for the last 10 years of their life.
Yeah. That's ironic. That is very fucking ironic.
John Adams was older than Jefferson, too.
Yeah, it's interesting. Chase, what's your perspective whenever, like, Black Lives Matter call for, like, the destruction of the Jefferson Monument or, like, Monticello? There was literally this one where they went to Monticello. They're, like, pointing at Monticello is Jefferson's house, his historic house. Yeah. They're like pointing at it and being like, "Oh, that's the slave owner's house and all this shit. Let's tear it down."
He had kids with his slaves. Like,
come on,
he was treating them well.
I mean, me personally, it doesn't. I don't fucking care. The house isn't hurting me. That like, right. I don't care about a monument because here's the thing: as much as we like to fight it, that shit is a part of history.
Right.
So. If we need it there to remind us of, what we don't want to go back to, okay, that's fine. But I don't really feel the need to tear down a monument. The monument's not going to be the thing.
This is exactly what Condoleezza Rice said, and the BLM movement's like, "You're a real black person." Like, okay, that's rational.
They're literally the most ridiculous people. Like any the neo Nazis. Like it's just
it's just like a fringe movement
of each axis.
They literally
saying ridiculous
they
things.
literally put out this manifesto where they called for white people to give up their property to black people or like donate like all this money and shit. What's up, Nicole?
Yeah, no, it's the thing about it is, depending on which faction of the Black Lives Matter movement you're in, because there's some that are more extreme than others.
Yeah, that was
Like,
literally their leader that put out that manifesto. I'm like, oh, that's reasonable.
Here's the thing. Okay, this is because I actually heard a comedian say this once, and this is why I find it funny. I find it funny that Black Lives Matter gets so much shit, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to say Black Lives Matter. You know, not that they're better.
Okay, some of them are saying that, but some of them are trying to become superior and feel like white people owe them for something that happened like 150 fucking years ago or more.
Well,
like okay,
this was still being lynched in the South 50 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But listen, this is what
like racism. It wasn't just like it was 150 years ago. Like it's come.
No, I know.
It's baby steps the whole way, and now it feels like we're
right
back. Yeah.
But these people are like so fixed up on who owned slaves back in the day, even if they're presidents. And I'm like, bitch, your fucking father, your grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather was not a fucking slave. And the people that were slaves in your ancestry, you do not know.
Honestly,
you do not know from Adam.
If I was
you don't know
black,
anything about them.
Like obviously, someone who's alive in America today was never a slave. Like
Right.
you would think, like, okay, West Africa or the United States, a first world country.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. How about a little thank you for taking you to America? How about you thank your ancestors for building what we have
I'm stepping
right
away from
now.
that one. I'm
I'm
stepping
just-
away from that one.
Well, that was just a side note.
Stepping away from that
Here's
one.
another.
I'm not in on
here's
this one.
another thing. Here's a mind-blowing fact for you. America, the U.S. only accounted for 5% of the Atlantic slave trade. Around 40% was Brazil, and the rest was like the Caribbean. But fucking in Brazil, the average life of a slave was 20. They were that poorly treated. So like,
The Spanish.
okay, America was pretty good as far as like slavery.
Okay,
went.
pretty good,
Let's
Zach.
be real.
Shut the fuck up. Pretty good.
No, I mean, okay, it's
We just
it's
had-
it's still an abomination. But I'm just saying, like,
I was about to say,
if you had to be anywhere, if you had to be either in Africa or Brazil where you'd like live till 20, where would you choose?
I was gonna say, you can't really like. Slavery is still slavery. It's not like it's. Okay.
It is, but they were treated a lot better by and large. That's all I'm saying.
It all depends on the owner, Zach. Like, not some people
It does.
treated their slaves better than.
I'm saying on average.
He has all this information like at his fingertips.
I do. I've studied up.
Damn. Okay, look. That's like taking everything with a grain. It's like saying, okay, this guy only killed one person. This guy killed 3 people. This guy killed 16. Are we gonna treat them any differently? Like, they're all murdering pieces of shit.
Yeah, but the guy that killed 16 people is definitely way more in the wrong.
It's just weird, like, you own people, you're savage as fuck, like, beating the shit out of them, making sure they're okay. They're like, oh, yeah, let's act like a normal human being now. Hello, daughter.
Right.
Hello, like, this is normal. Like,
Okay, like,
you just beat the shit out of a human being to the point where they bled, and now you're just gonna go upstairs and kiss your kids? Like,
right. Okay, let's look back to, like, 1850. Like, think about where we are now compared to back then. And then, like, if you take 1850 and, like, see how far we've gone technologically and socially and all this shit. If you took that span between now and then, like, it'd be comparable to comparing the Civil War period to, like, the Romans.
I'm moving to England. I'm just moving to England.
So, like, why are we still on this? Why are we still, like, judging...
Rome fell in 1421, so it was a little before that.
No, but I'm saying, like, the span, like, the explosion of technology and, like, social change and everything. Like, it's been like, the last century has been more technological advancement than, like, a fucking millennium in the
19th
past, you
century
know?
was-
You know what I'm saying?
Well, the 18th and 19th both, because the 18th century was the industrial
Right.
technology.
That's when it started snowballing.
And then the 20th century is electricity and phones
Yeah.
and cars and planes.
Right. Like, back in the 1850s, we didn't have, like, light bulbs, the internet, cars.
light bulb
Like,
was patented, I think, in like
Okay, this is like
1852.
was it?
Yeah.
I can't confirm this, but this is like a theory of mine. A lot of people like to tend to think that conflict breeds
Oil.
you know,
We had oil lamps though the whole time.
Yeah.
Since colonial days.
yeah, conflict breeds like innovation, and conflict breeds new tech.
Absolutely. Like during the World Wars, that was like the biggest
Yeah.
World
surge.
War II made us a superpower.
So-
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
because 3 different big countries owed us money. Because in both World Wars we stayed neutral on purpose so that we could supply our allies.
I mean, we also nuked the fuck out of Japan.
Yeah, because we didn't want to invade. It was either invade and lose close to 1 million men,
Yeah.
Or bomb the fuck.
or bomb the fuck out of them and kill their own people. And then,
yeah.
and then literally take over the country, rebuild it,
Yeah.
and make them.
And now they're our allies.
Yeah, make them a superpower.
Yeah, like the whole conflict thing. Like that's why I think there's a higher. This is like paranoid side of me. I think there's a higher power pulling the strings on like what media goes out and everything like that.
Definitely.
Because here's the thing: if you control the media to say what you want it to say, you can convince somebody that fucking water is poisonous for you. So if you could convince somebody to do that, you can clearly convince people that this side and this side should be pinned against each other when we should actually be working together.
Yeah.
But the higher power likes the conflict because that usually breeds more.
It's crazy. When you
Well,
look
the
at
higher
history.
power is also putting us in foreign countries just to like make a profit. They're starting wars just to make a profit.
There were 5 coalitions before they finally fucking took Napoleon down. Like, it just blows me away that.
What's that have to do with anything, though?
I'm just thinking of like war and how like
Okay.
people cause war for pointless reasons.
Yeah.
It's just like how it's again people.
Yeah. Here's a mind-blowing fact I learned about Genghis Khan not too long ago.
What's it?
Genghis Khan raped so many people over his conquest that the world's population at the time could draw directly back to him. 8% would be his direct descendant.
Shit.
8% of people alive today.
8% that was alive back then.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Were
say
his direct
I thought you
descendant.
said today. I was like, damn.
that's still a lot.
No, I think it might be like 2% now.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's,
But that's impressive. Like, holy shit.
you're responsible for 8% of the fucking world.
Genghis Khan was the one person to actually take over Russia.
Part of Russia.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it still
Yeah, the
counts.
largest empire of all time.
That still counts.
He had one of them. I don't think it was the.
It was the largest. Alexander was the second.
Genghis Khan.
Yeah, the Mongolian Empire spanned from fucking Asia to like part of Europe and then part of Africa, I think. It was massive.
It's pretty impressive,
Yeah.
especially for.
And then as soon as he died, it just like fell apart because everyone was squabbling about who would take over after him.
Are you Googling this? Oh, okay.
Justin, what do you have any cool historical facts for us as a history buff? Any wonky things that happened? Like banana republics, that was a thing.
Banana republics. What do you mean?
The fact that like we killed all these indigenous people and like took over their land just for bananas.
Oh my god.
There's like a whole like the fucking Dole fruit company like had a whole armed militia behind them to take over these people.
I'm hopping
Are
on the
you
first
serious?
ship
When
tomorrow.
did
Yeah,
that happen?
you've never heard of that? That's where the term Banana Republic came from because we kept taking over all these
It's like-
islands and
that's
shit.
like a name of a clothing company.
I know, they
these days.
named it after that.
Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah, Dole actually took over Hawaii single-handedly too for all their pineapples.
Well, did you know that there was like Leopold of Belgium owned Congo in the 1800s, and like he was like as brutal as like Stalin, and like seriously,
What the fuck?
he just like liberated like all of Congo. The same with he was the same guy who took part in the Armenian
Genocide.
Holocaust.
Oh fuck.
Leopold.
Jeez, dude.
That's,
He was a bad
nuts.
motherfucker, and like
You never hear about him.
yeah,
That's nuts.
it was like 50,000 Armenians were just killed.
Wow. Here's another funny thing about American history was whenever the
Maybe more than that.
whenever the Mormons had like their Renaissance and Brigham Young brought everyone over to Utah, they tried to secede, and so I forget who the president at the time was, but he sent the armed forces over to them,
I've read about that.
and Brigham Young held them off to the point that like they made a truce eventually, but he repelled the entire U.S. military that they sent over there.
Oh,
It was impressive.
I salute you, sir. I salute you.
Mormons are bad motherfuckers.
I was reading
back then.
They had all their wives to shield them.
I was reading my
Oh my god, I saw like a TV show that to where Mormons still technically have like a cult nowadays.
What do you mean by cult?
Like there's like some guy.
I don't think they're allowed to be polygamous anymore.
that
Are they?
technically they're not allowed, but apparently it still goes on. Like there's a TV show that documents it. Like there's people who like try to escape the Mormon lifestyle because like they're like a second or third wife and they have all these kids or whatever by this one guy, and they want to escape the lifestyle because it's like they feel like they're treated like trash and they don't like the
That's interesting.
It's like I can't remember.
Weird.
I can't remember the name of the show or anything like that, but it's like a legit thing. I watched
So
like
weird.
3 episodes on it. Like it's one of those that like sit down and you get caught in it kind of deals.
Yeah. Not as weird as Scientology.
I was about to say they're about on the same level.
I would not say that, dude. Scientology was literally founded by a guy that was a science fiction writer.
I know all about Scientology.
He's fucking nuts, dude.
I'm not
Ron
not
Hubbard.
touching either of those. I'm not too keen on either of them. So
You guys want to join?
No. Oh no. No, that was on one of the booths outside of like in the college like the college foyer. Yeah.
The lead singer of the Killers is a Mormon, and I was reading
Really?
my Rolling Stone, and they like interviewed him, and they were asking him like, "How do you feel about Book of Mormon and South Park like making fun of Mormonism?" And he was just pretty much like, I don't really give a shit about it. He went on to talk about how like Christians like it's pretty much the same shit. Like they read a book that's 2,000 years old. Like he was just saying like how it's kind of like hypocrisy and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, like all religion is that way in some kind.
Right.
But yeah, Mormonism's weird. I just don't understand like how you're like, yes, this is what I believe.
I mean, just what you said, we do the same thing with Christianity.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Zach. I'm surprised you didn't bring this up earlier. Okay, but so I was watching a football game the other day, and like, here's the thing about the whole kneeling thing during the like. A lot of people said they were disrespectful about that, like during the national anthem and shit like that.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, but here's the thing: there was a game where a team actually did it before the national anthem. Like they made sure to come out and do it like before the national.
Yeah, why doesn't everyone do that
It was
then?
Dallas.
Well,
Dallas
yeah,
kneeled,
Dallas,
and then
yeah.
they stood up for the anthem.
Yeah,
and
let me
went back
explain
to
though,
kneeling.
because this one, okay, what Colin Kaepernick was doing beforehand and what the teams are doing now, those are totally two separate things. They're not. The kneeling and the arm holding this past week during the NFL, that wasn't a sign of trying to fight against police brutality or like their disagreement with what's going on. That was a sign of unity against Donald Trump for what he said, like for calling him a bunch of SOBs and shit like that. So honestly, this wasn't even on the same level. But here's the thing: Dallas did it before the national anthem was even played. Like they told the announcers, "We're going to do this before the national anthem, so just let people know what's going on." They went out there and did it before the national anthem, and people still got pissed off about it.
Right.
So here's the thing:
A lot of people just don't want to see it.
yeah, and here's the thing: Trump said something that I don't agree with. He's like,
Most days.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
most
Literally every day.
yeah, every day. But this is like something. He's like, you guys are paid to play sports and not be politicians. So just stick
I'm
to
gonna get on
sports.
this Twitter right now.
But I'm just like, okay, these are some of the most influential people in the United States and throughout the world, honestly. So if they have a platform and they want to use it, why not? Because if they use if they can use that platform to donate to Hurricane Harvey and donate to like victims of different situations and stuff like that, why can they not raise awareness for something that they believe in? I feel like if they have the platform, why not use it? Because their voices are going to be heard a lot louder than somebody a smaller person like me. Like I might say whatever I want on this podcast. Mm-hmm. Nobody's probably going to bat an eye at it. But if an
actually
NFL
Donald Trump just tweeted.
oh shit. God damn. I'm working, mama. I made it big. Donald Trump just tweeted me. Actually, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
Colin Kaepernick wants to hang out with me now. Him and Steph Curry.
I'm okay with that.
I guess the thing that the problem I have with kneeling is kind of like, what does it solve? Because Kaepernick's been kneeling for like a fucking year now, and I guess what I see when he kneels is just like it's supposed to represent like what? Okay,
he's just delusional.
Just wait. The thing that he's like trying to represent is like, you know, he's standing against like injustice against blacks or like police brutality or whatever. But like, what good does it do just to acknowledge that there's racism when you're not doing anything about it? Because why don't you actually like, you know, work with police and try to start a dialogue, or like go to your government officials, or like have fundraisers and stuff, and do that outside of the NFL.
Here's the thing. The thing about Colin Kaepernick is he actually did stuff like that outside of the NFL. Like, he brought what he did on national TV and what he did like on that platform, he brought attention to it. So that way it started the conversation of, why is he kneeling? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? He started up the movement. And for anything big like that, or for any kind of movement that you want to start, you have to start with something like that. You have to have a big announcement to, you know, show a lot of people, this is the reason we're doing this. We're bringing attention to this. And he's said plenty of times, he's not doing it to disrespect the flag. He's not doing it to disrespect the military. He has some grievances. It's one of those things to where he doesn't agree with it.
Right. So
this is his way of going about it. He's not being disruptive. He's not like going out there and telling them to stop singing the national anthem. He's not like telling everybody else they shouldn't be doing anything for the national anthem. He's just exerting his right as an American citizen to not stand for the national anthem because it's something he doesn't believe in.
Right.
And it's like, the way I see it is, it's a lot like Christianity. If you're a Christian, you go about, do whatever you want to do. If you bring one of your friends who's not necessarily a Christian to church, they're probably not gonna like jump up and sing the hymns that you sing or anything like that. They're just sitting down, they're doing their thing, and they're not bothering anybody. Yeah. And that's my way of looking at it. Like, they're not telling you don't do this. This is just that it's not for them.
Okay. I didn't know about like him going out and actually doing stuff outside of that. Yeah, so, I mean, I have respect for him for doing it.
Yeah, he's actually donated.
I thought he was just like,
yeah, he's actually had conversations. Yeah,
but that's good as long as they're doing something out of that. But I think another problem that people are having with it is people are just sick of hearing about politics all the time.
Yeah,
and people kind of like when you go to like the movies or turn on TV or like go and watch ESPN, you kind of want to just like relax and not, you know, have any of the bullshit on.
Yeah.
I think people are upset that their time to do that is being invaded by politics. You know. Okay,
and I understand that, but at the same time, how long is the national anthem usually? Like a couple minutes?
Yeah.
A couple minutes. Okay, so if you're doing your thing and you're sitting there and you're tuned into the national anthem for 2 minutes or however long it is, and you have your hand over your heart and whatever. Okay, you see somebody kneeling. If they're not, like, the thing about it, the kneeling during the halftime when they actually brought attention to it, that's the issue. Like, if they're doing that, okay, yeah. But you're getting to the point to where, okay, it's bothering to you to the point to where you're getting pissed off about him kneeling, but it was for 2 minutes. He kneeled, and then you got your game. He's not kneeling during the game, which you're actually coming to see. Like, are you paying?
He's on the field, like, he
like
has
he's
the ball.
running,
He just like
he's running
kneels,
for the touchdown.
gets
He just
sacked.
He's like
touchdown. Yeah, like, it's not. The thing is, if he kneeled during the middle, if everybody just like during the middle of a game just
Drop
all
down.
decided,
Yeah, right.
hey, everybody,
We
we're
aren't
checking in.
playing.
Yeah, until like
I would say they should be fired if they did that.
Did you see that 4 college basketball coaches got fired and fined for like rigging games?
yeah,
Really?
NCAA, like 3 different coaches.
That doesn't
or
surprise
4 different
me.
coaches.
that doesn't surprise me.
I know, me neither. Like basketball, honestly.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy.
Are you
though.
saying because they're black they're going to cheat?
Yeah. Oh
No,
my
I can't watch basketball games. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah, it's not entertaining.
It doesn't surprise me, but like, yeah, no. So if they
most
were,
athletes are black.
Is that why you aren't watching it?
it's like
Segregate the
the
leagues.
NFL is like 70-30.
Give me Larry Bird.
Especially the NFL and the NBA.
NBA is 75% black and like 25%.
Really? I thought it was higher than that even.
No, it's 75%.
Well, I mean, you have to account for the bench. I mean,
The bench, the centers, the coaches, and all that. Like the main stars are black.
Yeah.
Like you think of all the
every star that I know besides Larry Bird is black, and Larry Bird hasn't been there since.
There's Larry Bird,
Yeah.
Steve Nash, Pistol Pete.
I
Wait,
don't know basketball players.
Yeah, neither
I
do
just know like Kobe Bryant,
John
and
Stockton.
Michael Jordan,
I know the Toon Squad and the Monstars.
Scott Pippen, and-
yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of really good white players, but they get
Really good, Chase. Really good.
yeah, really good.
That's like comparing Venus Williams to any boy tennis player.
Oh my god.
No, do you guys remember when I forget who it was. It was like a really famous tennis guy said something on Twitter about like Venus Williams would never, or good for her for like winning best female or whatever, but she would never stand up against the boys league. You remember that? And people,
Yeah, I remember
People
that.
were like outraged, and then someone else was like, "Well, I mean, she played against this guy that was ranked like 175th in the male league and lost, and it was like not a surprise to the tennis officials. She scored like 1 point on them."
It's like, okay, here's the thing. I don't know. That's dumb. Stay in your lane, okay? And it's, of course, why are you comparing her to a guy anyway? Most sports
Yeah.
are separated by. That's like me saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to I'm gonna lose. Like you put Usain Bolt up against like the top distance runner or one of the other, like not even the best distance runner, like maybe like the 50th best distance runner in the world, and saying Usain Bolt wouldn't be able to handle. That's not his skill of expertise though. Like
Okay, but these tennis players' expertise is playing tennis.
Okay,
and
but-
people were like, "Oh, it's sexist to say that." No, she just like legitimately couldn't beat the 175th ranked man in the men's league.
But do you really?
And that's not sexist. It's just like a fact.
It's like that's the reason why you have different divisions for stuff like that. I mean, it's just natural. It's like I mean, really, like if in MMA, you're not gonna say a 165-pound guy is gonna win a fight every time. Not every time.
Did you hear about there was this one girl in the female league that didn't disclose that she used to be a man and just like laid waste to a bunch of the women. There was like this huge controversy.
Yeah, I heard
I
about
didn't
that.
know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that's fucking. Yeah, I heard about that actually.
Yeah, that's fucked up. And what's even funnier is that
Oh, you missed.
what's even funnier, I learned about this because I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
And he actually used to be an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, this transgender woman, like, if you look at her form and everything, she wasn't even a good fighter.
Yeah.
She just had like the muscle mass and pure raw power from being a man that like led to her beating these women. And he actually lost to a couple of girls, which was even more funny.
Yeah.
And showed like he just didn't have the skill. He was winning because he was a fucking man.
Yeah. Oh my god. But that's kind of the thing. We have divisions for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really necessarily expect like somebody who's 165 to go up and beat somebody who's like 286 or something like
Right.
that. Like, it can happen, but it's very
the odds are
Bruce Lee.
stacked against you.
The odds are stacked against you, and like it's a totally different game from different divisions. Like some division, they're gonna go longer rounds because their fighting style is built more on wearing the person down, and like getting not necessarily landing that knockout punch. Whereas in the higher divisions, they have that power. They might not be able to last like 5-6 rounds, but if they hit you one clean time, your ass is out.
Yep.
So,
did you watch the Mayweather-McGregor fight?
Yeah, I was actually really impressed with McGregor.
McGregor did a lot better than I thought he would.
I wanted McGregor.
He just
to win.
wore himself out. He wasn't used to the distance.
Yeah, you gotta think like the most rounds they go.
He did better
5.
than anybody that most people that Floyd has ever
Yeah,
fought.
absolutely.
Hell, he did better.
He's a fucking amateur.
He did better than Pacquiao.
Oh,
I didn't see the Pacquiao fight.
Pacquiao didn't stand a chance.
No, Pacquiao didn't even. No, it was bad for Pacquiao.
Yeah, really bad. He was out quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and it was a really good fight, but you know, I wanted.
It wasn't quite
what I
Holly
said.
Holmes bad, but
What I wanted.
She beat.
Oh my God!
When she
Would
like,
beat Ronda Rousey?
She just beat her ass straight up. Just no doubt. That's done. No one saw.
Did you know that she used to be a man? I'm just saying.
Stop it! Stop! Stop it! Not every woman used to be a man, Zach.
That's false.
Oh my God!
A really fucked up thing while we're on the topic of transgenders. I heard that in Canada they're making laws as to if the parents don't, if the kid wants a hormone treatment and their parent denies them, the government can take their kid away from them.
What?
That's fucked up.
Canada's also doing like a gender neutral option too on their like male.
Canada's kind of weird.
They're just progressive.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that's progressive.
I don't.
Taking your kid away from you.
I think that's a little extreme for that.
I've
never heard of that law.
We talked about this on one of the past circle jerks where
if that's a legit thing, that's pretty far-fetched.
It is a legitimate thing, but the thing I said on one of the past circle jerks is I think they need to pass legislation as to where you can't get hormone treatments until you're like 18 or 21.
I'd say 18. Like
yeah. Because, like, when you're a kid, you don't know what you want. And you're, like, you have all these hormone fluctuations and shit. Like everyone's confused around that age. It doesn't mean that, like, you're transgender necessarily. And you might regret it.
I mean, you think about it. Because, I mean, even, hell, Caitlyn Jenner even said she, like, regretted it almost a little bit. Like, after she got the operation done. And it was just like... It's one of those things to where you have to be 110% sure about it. And, like, when you're younger, you are very malleable to where you can go. Like, you see... Like
emotionally and, like, physically, like, you literally have to just change your whole self. Like, it's just...
Yeah, like...
I don't know if I can do it.
Well, like, a lot of girls, when they're younger, dress like boys and like boy things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're lesbian or transgender. But I feel like the stuff that they're seeing in the media is going to, like, lead them to think that they are, and then make a permanent decision that they can't go back.
The problem is the...
Right, that is the problem.
At the end of the day, media is the biggest problem out there because the media portrays all this stuff.
They're the reason that we have fucking Trump now. If they just, like, did not have Trump,
I honestly feel...
If they did not report on Trump at all, he would not have even won the Republican ticket.
I feel like if we all just treated Trump with the silent treatment, he'd just go away. He'd get bored and go away.
Okay.
Or he'd throw a hissy fit and be like, "You guys aren't paying attention to me. Fine.
I'm nuking Nebraska. It's gone. Now what?
And now, you asshole, you're out."
Oh my God.
So sorry, Nebraska. We're gonna have to kind of sacrifice you. You're gonna take one for the team.
Right.
Bye, Ashley.
Oh no.
Another thing I was gonna bring up was the Charlottesville thing, and like, yeah, like, how effective do you think it is to, like, go and picket KKK rallies? Like, I think it'd be more effective just to, like, do the Trump thing that we were talking about and ignore them, let them do their thing, and just let them pass. Because, like, when they go and, like, incite violence like Antifa, actually like going and if they're just like marching along and Antifa goes up and just like starts a melee, then like they're given instances that they can legitimately point to and say this is an example of them trying to replace us and like you know. So if I think it's more effective just to like let them do their because let's be real. It's being anti-KKK. What? Wow, how groundbreaking is that? Like, no one's fucking pro-KKK except the KKK, and they're pretty like small faction. They had 300 people in that rally.
Trump did say they were a bunch of upright guys.
Oh
on
my
that.
God.
He did.
That okay. That was
He
that,
really
yeah,
didn't
listen,
say shit about him. He wasn't
that was stupid.
He said worst thing about the NFL players and the
He
rioters.
should have been more explicit about the KKK, but I will say he was right when he said there was wrong on both sides, and the media blast Antifa going and inciting violence. I feel like that's more dangerous than the KKK because people are actually looking at Antifa and you know they're going and they throw around the fucking word Nazi like you wouldn't believe. And basically anyone that doesn't agree, anyone that doesn't agree with them, they label a Nazi and like say that's justified to incite violence because they are saying something that they don't like. So I feel like that's a more dangerous idea than the KKK, which is already like widely disregarded as, you know, people don't agree with the fucking KKK. Like 1% of the population probably. Let's be real.
I think it's more than 1%.
I'd say like less than 1% of the population wants to go out and fucking lynch people. Like, come on.
People are really shitty.
I mean, I don't think we have any accurate polls as far as like.
Nobody's gonna actively.
Are you going to lynch this person?
No, there's not gonna be an accurate poll to say like, do you want to go out and lynch a black person? No, that's not gonna be something that people are gonna openly admit. Well, some will actually openly admit to. I know a couple that probably would.
Yeah.
But like,
there's a lot of hate in the world.
Yeah. Like, but the thing is, like, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm not agreeing with you at the same time. Like, I admit, like, yes, there are some points that you are touching on that are correct, but there are also some points that you brought up that I disagree with, and that's at the end. I do think that yes, them going out there probably wasn't the best idea because now you pretty much. But that's a lot of emotional built up.
What they did by opposing the KKK in the fashion that they did probably made the KKK stronger, and their recruitment, I guarantee, has gone up as of Charlottesville, directly because of the actions of people like Antifa.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't think that. You said what?
One person.
No.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, they killed one person.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I don't agree with. This is just me personally.
Mm-hmm.
The whole KKK rally thing and like the reason they were out there, like the reason they were out there is totally
because some statues got removed.
Yeah, but
so let's go back to our grassroots in the 1800s. Let's go, boys. Get the pitchforks and the torches. It ain't 2017. Like what? What? It's like it was from a fucking movie.
Obviously, they aren't rational people. But like, what I'm saying is, I actually read this article about. I think it was like a black. I think it was a pastor, or like maybe it was a professor or something. But he actually, by just talking with members of the KKK, actually turned them on his side and like destroyed that racism. I feel like that's a lot more effective than going up in their faces, punching them, like saying, like just being belligerent to them. Hate against hate just makes more hate.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right what they did, but at the same time, how often, if you just walk up to him and try and talk to him, what % of them are actually going to want to talk?
I agree with you. Like, I don't think a lot of them would, but
they're belligerent assholes.
But listen, you have a better chance of turning them doing it my way than you would going up there and punching them. Yeah, that's only gonna make them hate you more.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying.
But there might be some people that would join your side if you were actually like a rational human being and just wanted to talk through it with them.
I'm not saying that like them going up to him and punching him is the right way. I'm saying, but at the same time, I'm saying like there's not a good way to approach that situation either way. If you go up, because if they just go up to him and approach him anyway, Your approach probably to just leave them alone was probably the
Fuck
best
you,
one.
nigger, you know?
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Of course you're gonna get a lot of that.
Like,
you're gonna have to endure that. But, I mean,
but
if you really want change, you're gonna have to do that instead of going up and, you know, hating them, yelling slurs right back at them. It's not gonna change anything. It's gonna make it worse.
I think the problem with the whole endurance thing, like you have to endure it, that a lot of people are mad about, is the fact that why should they have to endure it? If they're an equal person in our civilization, I'm equal to you, you're equal to me. Why should I have to endure you saying this to me just because I have a darker skin tone than you and you don't?
Listen, there's gonna be people that hate you no matter who you are. There were people that hated Gandhi and fucking like Martin Luther King, for God's sake. There were people that hated Christ, and he's literally like the Son of God, the perfect human being.
Yeah.
And they killed him.
Yeah.
So like, you know, no matter who you are, there are going to be people halfway across the world that hate you just because of where you were born, whatever, and you're going to have to accept that no matter what. If you don't like these people, don't go to the rallies. Or, you know, try to do something positive with it. By inflaming it, you're only making it worse against yourself and for everyone.
Yeah, but a lot of people, I hear what you're saying. And a lot of people do try that approach, but whenever it comes to a fact of you have to endure it, if you go to the rallies or if you do an everyday stuff, like if you go to the store, if you go to this part of town just because they don't like you for whatever reason, if you have to endure it going here and going there, you can't go to certain places because they don't like you because you're black. Some people get tired of that, and at some point they feel like they have to push back.
That's life.
But at some point...
I'm saying that's the easy response, right? It's easy to throw a punch. It's hard to, you know, be kind and love your enemy. But that's what's going to actually change things. I agree with you. It is hard. It is unjust. But the world is unjust, and it will always be that way.
I doubt that's gonna be the end goal, though. Like at the end of the day, I don't think either person on either side. I think it's hard for both people on both sides to try and go that route.
It is hard, but that's what's needed.
It's needed, but it's highly unlikely.
That's why Martin Luther King's rallies were so much more successful than, like, you know, going up in Ferguson and trashing black businesses. That only makes things worse. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Peaceful protest is a lot more effective than riots.
Yeah, but even in peaceful protests, people still
die, people get hurt, but that's the price of it. And that only listen, if you were doing a peaceful protest and, you know, trying to actually break bread with these KKK members and talk things through and sway their fucking morphodite ideas, and they're going to spit on you and punch you and shit, I don't know, people in their organization might see that and be like, wow, we really are like a bunch of hateful fucks. Maybe,
keyword might.
Yeah, might. But I think it's more likely to change them.
Because I'm going back to what you said about the whole, like, Martin Luther King and everything like that. Yes, Martin Luther King was one of the, like, people back in the day, and his rallies were effective, but so were some of the more extremists, like Malcolm X. I'm not saying that that's the route that should go, but I'm just saying it's a coalition of both parties that came to one, that both of them together. And not just them, just a coalition of a lot of different ideas and a lot of different approaches. There's not one way to solve a problem. There's many ways to solve a problem. Some may be worse than others and might have more repercussions than others. But it's hard to pinpoint this is the right way to do something. Because as many times as I hear people tell, like, this is the wrong way to protest, this is the wrong way to protest, this is the wrong way to protest. I've yet to hear one person say what is the right way to protest.
I just did.
But even then, when people go that
even
route,
then, Zach.
yeah, even then, when somebody goes that route, people say that's the wrong way to protest.
Well, of course, you're never gonna have 100% of people that agree with you, no matter what.
Exactly.
I mean, we can't even agree on what fucking gender is. Let's be real here.
Exactly. So, at the end of the day, it's just like one of those things to where it may satisfy you, it's not going to satisfy everybody else, and and it's always going to be an issue no matter which route you go about it.
Yeah, I just feel like the violence route is the short-term solution. Yeah. It's gonna, you know, shove them down for a little bit, but then they're gonna be back potentially even stronger. But, the loving way, the peaceful way is the long-term solution. It's like after World War I, we could have just helped build Germany back up, and it might have, not given up to the rise of Hitler. But they're like, no, let's fuck them up for what they did and fucking devastate them economically, and that was what fueled Hitler to become what he was. So,
yeah, fair enough.
Imagine if we did that to Japan after we nuked them, and then give us reparations on top of that instead of building them back up. Then they would not be where they are today. They would not be our ally. They would not probably even be a democracy. So,
yeah, fair.
Anyway, can we all just agree? Trump 2020.
Fuck off. Fuck off. No, I will not agree.
See you guys next week.